moderator, Curtis Brito, and we're going to talk about technological revolution, relationships, and the laboratory. We're going to talk about our objectives, methodology, research, and conclusion. As we know, digital revolution has changed a lot of fields of work in all the world, and impacts with benefits or risks. And one of the fields that are impacts is scientific community. In scientific community, we have our hypothesis that we're going to answer with questions that in scientific community have benefits like in communication, to share information, or to search information, or development programs and projects. The risk that some technological revolutions sometimes limit the work and make people different. So with our paper, we want to answer a question. Does technology impose the way the researchers do the research, and if yes, how we can improve? Our objectives is analyze the research process and to know if technology affects or not, and recognize the pros and cons about that. Our methodology is divided in two parts. The first part is the identification. The second, preliminary interview and research session. Our tools to that development part is ethnography, that is a social science that studies the behavior of people. And atlastic to analyze information in the software, and another recording software to recollect that. In the part of identification, we select research with different areas. In the preliminary interviews, we have two interviews. The first is to recognize what is about the project, and the second is about the technology before and after. In research session is the observational part that we use ethnography, and for take information we use field notes. Now my partner will talk about research.
Okay. Since we already mentioned, we have a couple parts to the research. The first part, the interviews, is a quantitative in research part of ours that we use this to make tables and to know what researchers' tendencies are. And the second part, the research session, is a qualitative because we sit there and we observe how the researcher does his research. Okay. The points of interest for the part of the results are how technology influences researchers, and how it influences in how they communicate and they share information. Also, how they distribute their time using technology and when they're not using technology. Okay, for our interviews, these are a couple tables that we have that represent each a different question. The first question that we asked them was if they work with international collaborators. Researcher 1, 3, and 4 said that yes, they work intimately with international collaborators, while researcher 2 said that even although he does work with them, he doesn't necessarily always work with an international collaborator. Next, we asked if the technology is a fundamental part of their investigation. All four researchers said that yes, that technology is a very important part of their investigation. Next, if the technological revolution has benefited them in some way. For researcher 2, 3, and 4, they said that yes, it benefits them a lot in their area, but researcher 1 didn't always see the benefit in his investigation. Next, we are referring to the international collaborator part. Since all of them said yes, we decided to ask how would they send their information. If the first part, the first bar, this yellow bar, represents the personal communication. Personal communication refers if they actually took their information, to their international collaborator. Just researcher 3 said that he or she preferred to take her information personally and to give it to her international collaborator. For the next part, the phone, researcher 4, 3, and 2 preferred to use their phone to directly contact their international collaborator, although it's a bit more expensive than using other methods. And researchers 3, 2, and 1 prefer to use also email, because email, even though it's a bit slower to contact, you can still ask and clarify information. And for the last part, is All researchers said that Skype is a fundamental part of how they communicate, so Skype would be the most important form of communication. And for the final part, how they share their information. This was more referred to how they share their information between themselves. Researchers 1 and 2 said that email was one of the most important. Researcher 1 and 2 and 3 used the Dropbox, but researcher 1 and 2 used preferred to use it, while researcher 3 was the only one to prefer to use the database.